Shabbat Shalom and Erev Tov. Apparently, some of you only saw my lips moving, but did not see hear anything. That was my mistake. I had the little button off. So now I think hopefully you can hear me. So I want to welcome you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rabbi Robert Barr. I'm the Rabbi Emeritus of Congregation Beth Adam. And unfortunately, Rabbi Werber, our new Rabbi Chief Executive, isn't going to be able to join us this evening. She won't be here or tomorrow. She has COVID. So we wish her well. I know she's going to be watching. So, and all of you who may be sick, I hope you all have a speedy recovery as well. Now, you may be joining us on a couple of different websites. You might be joining us on our Beth Adam website or one of our two Facebook websites, our Beth Adam Facebook page or our Jewish Community Facebook page. Wherever you're joining us, welcome. We're glad you're here. Now, in any of those platforms, you can chat. I know folks on Beth Adam's website typically chat. Please be welcoming and inclusive. That's our goal. Just think of yourself as if you were in the sanctuary. Maybe you stumbled upon us by mistake. If you like what we're doing, we're glad you're here. If you don't, there are other services that are streaming in other places. Certainly feel free to do that and go there. If you don't like the chat, because some folks don't like seeing the chat, you can scroll over, and there's usually something at the bottom right hand of your screen that looks like that allows you to blow up the image, makes it bigger, and you don't have to see the chat, only see what is happening on the screen. Now, technical problems, we've really worked on that. Just now we had a little technical problem, and somebody ran up and told me we had a problem. We're checking it. So if you're having a technical problem, in all likelihood, it is on your side. So if you can't hear, that's because your speakers aren't up. We're streaming with full sound, and we've really been checking that. So if you have a problem, look at your computer, see if you can correct it there. If you like what you're experiencing, let other people know that you've come to Beth Adam and you joined us for services. That's always nice. We like to share what we're doing with others. You can let people know that they can watch this service once we're done with the service, once Yom Kippur Evening service is over. Because it's recorded, it will be on a loop and people can watch it. So you have friends in other time zones that couldn't join us at 7:30. They can watch it later, or they could even watch it tomorrow. Also, you can share it and post it. If you're on Facebook, you could say, hey, I watched this. You might enjoy it as well. If you like what we're doing and you want to make a donation, obviously that would be wonderful. We appreciate that. If you go to bethadam.org, bethadam.org, you'll see a place to make a donation for the high holidays, and we obviously appreciate that. It helps what we're doing. It is very affirmative. For those of you who've joined us in prior years and you have our High Holiday booklet, we're using the same booklet as we have in prior years. You don't need to have a booklet. The service is read and you can follow along. So we're really delighted you're here. I'm glad that we can share this holiday with you, this Yom Kippur, and our service is going to begin in a few moments.
sit with us too and sing. Come up and sit right here too.
I got one more minute.
Turning my phone off.
Mine's on.
I turned mine off. I got scared.
And I don't have to sing this song.
I'm assuming the fighting song must start at 7:30.
We are?
Megan also said we need to like really bump it.
Yeah, can you like blast it? So I
Sure.
don't
I mean,
feel
we're
like...
both low. I didn't know where.
Sing out, please.
I'll do it. Yes, girl.
Sing out.
As soon as he sits down, we'll stand up and do it.
Yeah. Perfect.
Sorting drum.
What do you... Give me a head nod.
Already sat down. Ready? One. Okay. Great.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom and Erev Tov, good evening. For those of you who don't know me, either here or online, I'm Rabbi Robert Barr, the Rabbi Emeritus here. And I have a feeling by the end of Yom Kippur, you're going to be sick of me. Unfortunately, Rabbi Werber is ill. We wish her well. I have my phone in case she wants to tell me what I'm doing wrong. She can text me right in the middle and make a correction and say, oh, this is what I want. So it's going to be, the services will all be the same. I'm healthy. You're healthy. Hopefully those online. If you're not healthy, we wish you a swift recovery. And we're glad we're together, that we can join as a community to observe the Shabbat, as well as this Yom Kippur. So we're going to begin with a reading for Shabbat on page 89. So you need to flip to the back of your book, and I'll give you a minute to do that. Oh, turn your cell phones on quiet. Is that what that was a reminder of? Charles, thank you. Yeah, turn your cell phones on. Shh. Make them on quiet so no one gets interrupted. Tonight, we cross the threshold of this chapel to enter a sanctuary free from the demands of our everyday lives. Tonight, we step away from our daily routines in an attempt to gain perspective on where we have been and where we're going. At other times, in other places, we may feel fragile and alone. Yet here, we join together to find strength, to build community as we look with wonder at the universe and seek our place within its vastness. To this place, we come to lengthen our perspective. To this place, we come to question and explore. In this place, we awaken our imaginations. In this place, we draw strength as we allow ourselves to dream. Together, we share the challenge of an ever-changing world, a world often beyond our control, incomprehensible and frightening. Together, we seek to find meaning, ease our fears, understand our purpose. Together, we share the burden and the blessing of responsibility. Tonight, we join together in the safety of community as we reflect on our Jewish heritage. Tonight, we join together in the bond of community as we celebrate this Sabbath. And now we continue our service with our Yom Kippur Evening service that is on page 40.
This is the opening of a new gate.
And the closing of another.
This is the beginning of a new season.
And the closing of another.
As our ancestors have done for thousands of years at this season, we gather on Yom Kippur to continue our period of self-reflection. We have set this interval apart from and above the routine of daily life. As we join in this service, we assume the responsibility for self-scrutiny. We declare our willingness to consider every aspect of our lives.
This is the opening of a new path and the closing of another. This is the beginning of a new life and the closing of another. Declaration of
we walk the path of self-examination and recognize that it is not an easy one. We find that we fail to hear the cries of those who need us. We have faltered and turned aside from our responsibilities. We have fallen short of our goals. On this evening, as we hear Kol Nidre, we allow ourselves to feel the pain of our failures, to understand the depth of our shortcomings. By walking this path, we can find self-acceptance. We can allow ourselves to grieve for what we are not. If we can determine new paths and set a straighter course, then we can hope for a better future.
This is the opening of a new journey.
And the closing of another.
This is the beginning of a new year.
And the closing of another. Declaration of Elohim Teha. Ta'era Shalom V'Imoteha.
To everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to reap. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather them up. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to seek, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rend, and a time to sow. A time to keep silent, and a time to speak. A time for love, and a time for hate. A time for war, and a time for peace. As the leaves slowly turn from green to brown, we turn our thoughts inward. As days change from the bright sunshine of summer to the more pensive, quiet coolness of the fall, we allow ourselves a time for thought. Our thoughts, like kites on a windy day, fly freely, soaring amongst the clouds, coming to rest against the ground. We think about the passage of time, a river swiftly flowing along its course. We think about those we love, some no longer with us, others growing, changing, moving onward. Often we wish we could, like a camera, record a moment in time and hold it forever still. Yet we cannot, for the river of time surges, bringing change, upheaval, carrying us into the unknown. What is left for us to do? We cannot halt the turning of the seasons, the passage of time. We cannot turn back, altering the days, the years that have been spent. We cannot bring back the loved ones we have lost, nor keep our young from growing older. And so we turn our thoughts inward, reflecting on the moments we have cherished, determined to give value to moments which lie ahead. We turn inward to find ourselves, to listen to our inner voice. We turn outward to find others, to share moments of compassion and love. It is at this time, as the old year gives way to the new, that we look inward, reach outward, reaffirming the values that we cherish.
At times, we face a world cold and foreboding. We see suffering without cause. We see cruelty without reply. Looking into the blackness of the night sky, we are aware that the universe swirls, indifferent to human concern, and our courage may falter. Through a film of darkness, we search for light. Baruch ha'or ba'olam, blessed is the light within the world. Baruch ha'or ba'adam, blessed is the light within each person. Baruch ha'or ba'yom tov, blessed is the light of this season. Like a beacon shining against a blackened sky, the flames of the candle lighten the darkness of our spirit, bringing forth warmth and comfort. The candles give us light, a healing far more powerful than darkness. We, like our ancestors, light the candles to dispel the darkness, to mark the beginning of Yom Kippur. We light these holiday candles to revitalize our ties to the past, to rekindle our determination to remember the tenacious spirit of our people, to remember the ties to our families and friends, to remember the moments of beauty and calm, to remember the times of light and laughter. We kindle the flame to mark the renewal of hope, the renewal of our energy as we search for the true sources of light. As the flame burns, we are comforted by the light, by the warmth springing up anew. Yom Kippur is the day of honesty, a day to see the truths of our existence, free from ornament with guileless eyes. Yom Kippur is the day of honesty, a day to acknowledge, then respond to the brevity of our lives, a day to examine the fears that make us mean-spirited and prejudiced, a day to recognize the significance of our action and our inaction, a day to steal away from the noise, to discover stillness, and to listen. Yom Kippur is the day of honesty, a day to shed the tired skin of deception and feel the tenderness of truth.
Etched upon the memory of our people, our images past, words once spoken, lessons once taught. The memory of generations resides within us. As we hear the Kol Nidre, we are connected to those moments, to the stories of time lost to our consciousness. The melody beckons us, calls us to stretch beyond our present lives, returning to our distant past, imagining our future, yet unlived. And for those who wish at this time to stand during the Kol Nidre, I invite you to do so. First, we listen to the English. Let all our vows and oaths, all the promises we make and the obligations we incur on ourselves between this Yom Kippur and the next be null and void, should we, after honest effort, find ourselves unable to fulfill them. Then may we be released from them.
Kol Nidre V'Yesarei V'Charamei V'Konamei V'Chinuyei V'Kinusei Ushavuot Din Darna Udaish Tevana Uda Charimna Vedia Sarna Alnav Sheta Mi Yom Kippurim Zeh Ad Yom Kippurim Haba Aleinu Letova Kol Chon Icharadna Vechon Kol Hon Yehon Sharan Shvikin Shavitin Betelin Umvutalin Lashrim Velakayamin Din Darna Lanidre Ve'asarana La'esare Ushavuatana Lashavuot.
Please be seated. if you had, sorry. It's a family thing. It's a family. We're a family here, you know. For those of you who don't know, that's Terry's. We've been married for a while, and our children too are here. So that's it. Okay. Can I? We all done there? Just checking. Okay.
Give me my moment.
Yeah, that's it. You know, I used to work alone. All right, this is not a stand-up. Oh, it's Yom Kippur, right? Serious. I'm sorry. When I lost my train of thought. Jeez, this is why I'm retired. No, on Rosh Hashanah, if you had been with us, Rabbi Werber read the story of Lech Lecha, which is the beginning of the journey of Abraham in that particular story, and we're going to continue his journey, if you will, but tomorrow morning we're going to read the section called Sodom and Gomorrah. I'm going to read that, we're going to explore that, and we're going to talk about that. Tonight I want to read a Midrash, a Jewish legend, about Sodom and Gomorrah. Jewish Midrashim were rabbis, we get bored, what can we say? And we like to tell stories. And rabbis have been telling stories for really thousands of years. They've been creating them. This is a midrash, a Jewish legend, that I wrote based upon other variations on a theme. This was a whole theme that existed about Sodom and Gomorrah, and we're going to explore it more tomorrow. Abraham couldn't believe the stories he heard, but he had kept hearing them. The tales of a city that was collapsing from within. Abraham was compelled to find out for himself if the reports were true. Could it be, Abraham wondered, could a town be so corrupt? Could its inhabitants be so cruel, so uncaring, that at any moment this one tranquil community could erupt into flames? This was more than a passing concern for Abraham. He had relatives and friends there. Abraham thought if he went and if the reports were accurate, perhaps he could affect some change. Perhaps he could, through his presence, through his efforts, he could make the people of Sodom and Gomorrah change their ways before it was too late. So Abraham journeyed to Sodom and Gomorrah, certain that if he could, it couldn't be as bad as he had been led to believe. No place could be that bad. And besides, Sodom and Gomorrah had once been a prosperous town, a place where the poor would find aid and the elderly were cared for. Surely, if people saw the error of their ways, if they saw how their ancestors were allowing this once vibrant community to perish, they would act, they would change. But Abraham wasn't naive either. He knew that places could change and times did not stay the same. Abraham was aware that in every place there were individuals who were cruel, people whose only concern was for their own welfare and no one else's, people whose sense of right and wrong was distorted, people who saw the world through a lens that had been perverted over time. And he knew, Abraham knew that when fear overtook a community, it could change it quickly. From hospitality for the stranger to suspicion, from concern for one's neighbor to questioning those who appear different. Abraham knew that even good people overtaken with fear would allow their voices to be muted. But Abraham also knew, perhaps believed or hoped that even in the most difficult of times, there were always people of justice, always people of compassion, people who stood up to wrongdoing, people who even in the face of their own fears had the conviction to stand up and be counted and to be counted on. Abraham believed if he could find these people of goodwill, if he could bring them together, then he could return Sodom and Gomorrah to what it once had been. Surely in this town, the size of Sodom and Gomorrah, a small town, there would be at least 50 people
who value justice, who valued peace, thought Abraham. If I could bring them together so that they could work together, we could stem the downward spiral that engulfed Sodom and Gomorrah, and he could save the city that he once knew. Abraham understood that it didn't take many to change the course of Sodom and Gomorrah. If people of goodwill gathered together and raised their voices, much could be accomplished. But when many are silent and hide behind doors of their home, then distrust can reign and evil will triumph. That was Abraham's greatest fear. It was dusk when Abraham entered the city. Long shadows were creeping along the open spaces. As he walked along the street, Abraham found that he was alone. The streets that had once been full of people were now empty. Yet Abraham sensed he was being watched. And soon he noticed as he walked along, faces peeked from behind window curtains and out of little doors partially opened. No one came to greet him or invite him in. The people just watched from behind their curtains as he walked by. Sadly, Abraham came to believe that indeed the stories he had heard were true. So he went to a friend's house. He knocked on the door, but the door wasn't opened. His friend just looked out, and Abraham said, "Let me in." And his friend said, "Go away." Abraham pleaded with his friend, "Open the door," but to no avail. His friend was too scared to open the door, too frightened by the madness that had overtaken the city. Abraham begged just to be let in for a moment. But through the door, Abraham could hear his friend say, "Abraham, leave this place. It is not the town you once knew. It is now full of corruption and sin. It is full of anger and hate. It is a town of violence and despair. We are only safe in our homes. We only trust our families. We stay inside. That's the only way to stay safe. That is the only way to survive." "But surely," begged Abraham, "you can open the door to me. We've known each other for years." "No," said the friend. "Even old friends we no longer trust. For in Sodom and Gomorrah, we care only for ourselves. Leave this place if you want to survive." Abraham could not fathom what had just occurred, but he was coming to realize that he was not going to be able to find those few good people who might be willing to work together and change the path that Sodom and Gomorrah was now on. All Abraham could do now was to go to his cousin's home to see if he could persuade his cousin Lot to leave before it was too late, before Sodom and Gomorrah would erupt into flames. And we continue our service on page 45. We have acted against life both willingly and unwillingly, both knowingly and unknowingly. We've denied the best within us when we avert our eyes from the sight of the afflicted. We have acted against life when we block our ears to the cries of the hungry. We have denied the best within us when we turn our backs on the plight of the dispossessed. We have acted against life when we silence our tongues in the presence of wrongdoings. We have denied the best within us when we mute our voices, refusing to join those who protest against injustice. We are sorry for our actions. We have acted against life when we close our hearts to the pleas of others who need our help. We have denied the best within us when we become numb to the suffering of others. We have acted against life when we step away from challenge, letting others act in our stead. We've denied the best within us when we cling to the safety of the known, too timid to take risks. We are sorry for our actions. We've acted against life when we place more value on youth and beauty than on age and wisdom. We've denied the best within us when we fail to call those who sit waiting for our voices. We've acted against life when we narrow our visions, demanding conformity from those we loved. We have denied the best within us when we see our children as reflections of ourselves, not respecting their right to be different. We are sorry for our actions. We have acted against life when we succumb to the intoxication of ambition at the expense of our family. We've denied the best within us when we are too busy to spend time with those we love. We have acted against life when we withhold a touch, leaving to others the drying of tears. We have denied the best within us when we hurt others, yet do not say we are sorry. We have acted against life when we allow the moments to tick by without challenging ourselves. We've denied the best within us when we accept mediocrity and fail to test our limits. We've acted against life when we let pain and illness blind us to beauty. We've denied the best within us when we fail to appreciate what we have, dwelling on what we have not. We are sorry for our actions. We have acted against life when we worry about the future, regret the past, and ignore the present. We've denied the best within us when we've grown too old for child's play. We've acted against life at this moment if we let this opportunity for self-examination drift by due to complacency and passivity. We've denied the best within us when, knowing our principles, we choose not to act upon them. We are sorry for our actions. We have transgressed against life when, year after year, we mouth the words of these services, never turning our words into actions. Well, You didn't see it when you walked in, but I did. You didn't see it because it's actually no longer there, even though I remember it being there. You're really confused at this point. So I'll tell you what I see and you don't, because it was there, but it's no longer there. When we were building this building in 2001, we dedicated it in September of 2001. Many of you remember that, you were here. We had a cornerstone made. It has the logo of Congregation Beth Adam with the date in Hebrew and in English, the English date and the Hebrew date of when the building was built. Well, the stonemasons sent me out to pick up that stone in Northside, put it in the car, and I drove home to our house on Hopewell. It was a heavy stone. I took it out of the car and I put it in the garage. And in order to get out, I slid it. I didn't know sandstone was fragile. And a corner of it chipped. A little dime-size piece of the corner of the cornerstone chipped. I was livid at myself. I couldn't believe what I had done. The building was already built and I ruined it. So I brought the stone here, and one of the stonemasons, we had incredible people building this building, he said, Rabbi Bar, don't worry. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little of the sand, I'm going to scratch some of the sandstone off the back, mix it with some mortar, and I'm going to patch it. No one will ever see it. I saw it every time I walked in. Every time I walked in. Didn't see the magnificent facade, didn't see the beauty of the building. I kept on seeing this little dime-sized little patch. Now, why isn't it there? Some of you may remember, this is sort of, I don't want to get too down to the weeds, but there was some problem, and somebody cleaned the sandstone, and when they cleaned it, they actually caused it to etch because they used water that was too strong. So the entire front of the building was replaced, including the cornerstone, right? So you have the old one. So no longer was there that little divot. But every time I walked in, I saw that. For me, I missed the beauty of the building because I focused on the chip. And it recalled that experience that I have had and continue to have, a sermon evaluation. So when I was at Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion, a long time ago, in the late 70s or 80s, we used to do, we'd give our senior sermons on Saturday morning, and then on Monday, a professor would tell you why you didn't do a good job usually. Wasn't my sermon, but I remember going to it, and one of the students had gotten up and given a sermon critiquing actually some things she didn't like that had happened at school. The professor gets up, and he pulls out a piece of white paper, and he puts a dot on it. And he says to the student, "What do you see?" She says, "A dot." He said, "That's the problem. Most people see a piece of paper." It's easy to see the dot and miss the paper. It's easy to see the chip and not to see the beauty of a magnificent structure. It's easy to see the error or the blemish and to ignore the rest. It's easy to see the misstep and not see all the successes and beauties that exist. It's an inclination to see what is wrong and to miss what is right. It's not just something that we do with others. It's something we often do with ourselves. It's easy for us to see and remember our missteps, our mistakes, our errors, and to ignore all the good and the beauty that we have created. In fact, Kol Nidre, isn't that what this is all about? Our liturgy, it asks us to remember and recognize the mistakes that we have made. It's the focus of the holiday, Judge ourselves. Look at our shortcomings. Look where we've missed the mark. Be honest as we assessed. This is good. It can be a worthwhile activity. It's important for all of us to pause, to reflect, to look at our lives, review what we've done, to acknowledge our shortcomings. We need to know that we haven't always lived up to our highest values and ideals, that we stumbled, that we've caused someone pain. But more than just that, we're asked to admonish ourselves, to act if we can, to try to rectify the damage. We're supposed to ask for sincere, go out and apologize and make genuine, sincere attempts to rectify what we've done wrong, not to assuage our own guilt. That's not the point. It's to help the person that we've wronged, to truly try to genuinely change that which we can if it's possible. But I would suggest, even as we acknowledge our mistakes, we should not lose sight of the good that we have done this year. We shouldn't allow our missteps, even tonight, when we're talking about not always reaching our mark, we should not allow that to overshadow the positive contributions we have made. We shouldn't only see the chip and miss the entire front, the beauty that's in front of us. When beating our chests and acknowledging our sins overwhelms our ability to see the good we've achieved, we are missing the mark. We're seeing the dot. We're not seeing the full page. So for Kol Nidre, for this Kol Nidre, for tonight, I want to flip the script. Rather than focusing on what we've done wrong, I want each of us, all of us, to take time to consider what we've done right. What have you done right this year? What are you proud of? What have you accomplished in this past year, known and perhaps even not known to anyone but yourself? What did you do that makes you smile when you think about it? What would you like to share but you haven't? What's that gesture or that act that you did that made the world, or at least your little corner of it, better than it was? What have you overcome to be here tonight? What have you overcome to achieve a year that you're proud of? To accomplish something that you weren't sure you could accomplish? I want you to think about those things. Seriously reflect on how you've made others' lives better through your actions and your choices. Thinking about the good you've done, the accomplishments that are transformative, it isn't an act of hubris. It's not an act of ego, but it's a chance to see our lives in balance. Its fullness, its totality. For many, it is so much easier to see and remember our missteps, to carry those disappointments and regrets with us, rather than celebrating what we've done. And frequently, we focus disproportionately on the mistakes, often carrying them far longer, far heavier than they're worth, while ignoring all the good and joy that's around us. It is easy to see the chip and ignore the rest. Acknowledging what we've done well isn't arrogant. It's not self-aggrandizing. For just like we have a responsibility to acknowledge where we've fallen short, we have the right to celebrate our success, our positive impact that we have achieved. I suppose this year, as my responsibilities at Beth Adam are shifting, or will shift, I suppose, with Rabbi Werber assuming the mantle of Rabbi Chief Executive and me now being named Rabbi Emeritus, there's more weight as I examine the year that's ending and the years that are now ending. And I do want to take a moment to thank Rabbi Warburg. I was hoping she was going to be sitting over there. I'm going to be looking at the camera a little bit because I know she's watching online. If you were here on Rosh Hashanah evening, she was very kind and said really generous words about me stepping back and giving her the space to become Beth Adam's rabbi. The truth be told, my willingness to do this is made possible because I know that I'm handing off to a skilled and dedicated rabbi. Rabbi Werber is an individual loyal to the philosophy of the congregation, committed to its growth and continued success to meet the challenges of tomorrow. My ability is a reflection of her generosity of spirit, her kindness, her intellect, her ability to lead this congregation into the future. So this Yom Kippur, as I'm thinking about my tenure at Beth Adam, I'm thinking about knowing that I'm handing it off to someone who will carry it into the future in a way that we all will be proud and celebrate. And I am thinking about my tenure here. I'm thinking about achievements and missteps. Over 40 some odd years, I have no doubt I've disappointed some of you. You don't have to raise your hand to tell me right now, I don't care. But I'm guessing I probably have. I've probably missed the mark, I've probably angered. And I know I've accomplished things, and we've accomplished things together. We've succeeded doing things that many said were not possible. Yet we persevered, and we did, and in doing so, we did good. And we can be proud, and we can celebrate. And it's not self-aggrandizing, it's recognizing the totality of an experience. But tonight isn't about me or about looking back at Beth Adam. It's about each of us looking at our actions and our inactions. For in life, we have successes, and sometimes we falter. Our ancestors obviously knew that. Why else would they create an idea of a holiday called Yom Kippur? They built the holiday and said, we're not always going to make it. Reflect on it. Do something. Now, what's really interesting about our ancestors, even though the people who sort of conceived of Yom Kippur were incredibly different theologically than we were, they did something very interesting. They acknowledged that sins before God could be rectified through prayer, through fasting, through ritual, but missteps between people is not forgiven or forgotten through ritual. It's not forgiven or forgotten by showing up here, any service. Thus it says in the Talmud, and we read it later in our service, one's unloving acts, misdeeds, selfishness, or any act that causes another human being pain is not forgiven or forgotten on Yom Kippur until one makes peace with the one who is wrong. Our ancestors took a very humanistic approach. They recognized that when we misstep or falter, it's incumbent upon us to do what we can to fix the damage if we can, because it's not always fixable. And sometimes we have to live with that reality and that knowledge. And I always believe that every statement has a corollary. So our rabbis, when they wrote that we need to acknowledge our mistakes, there was a corollary there. I think the corollary, not spoken but was there, embedded in it, is we get to celebrate our success. Without embarrassment, we get to celebrate our success. For if the goal of Yom Kippur is to learn from our mistakes, it should also be to learn from what we did right. Because that's part of who we are and what we've accomplished. It's all a tapestry. All that we've done. We weave a tapestry over a year, over a lifetime. Sometimes it's dark tones and sometimes it's bright. We create it through good and bad moments, happy and sad ones, success and failures. So while we think of Yom Kippur, we need to think of our lives in totality. Now, our ancestors also did something strange that's embedded in the Kol Nidre. Kol Nidre, which Terry chanted so beautifully tonight. So, I've known Terry in this sanctuary longer than anyone else. So this is my 47th High Holidays. I've known Terry through all 47. Now, she hasn't been at all of them, though when I My first one, I went to Toronto. The only possession I had was a record player. And I took it over to Terry's apartment because I was so worried it was going to get stolen. So Terry's been a part of my life and of Congregation Beth Adam's life since its very beginning. And she chants Kol Nidre beautifully. She's been doing it for years, and that's something that all of you see very publicly. But she's been supporting me and our family through all this. Because the day I was being ordained and one of the faculty said, he's crazy, may have been right, but Terry was kind enough to say, go for it. And she stood by me. And she was willing to go on this journey with me and allowed me to do that. She critiques sermons, not anymore, but I still remember one night, I work alone more now. I do remember the night I said, I'm giving you this sermon. I gave it to her, I read it, and she went, you're giving that in public? And she was frequently honest. So she did that. She supported me intellectually, emotionally, financially at times as when there were challenges. And so I wanted to thank her tonight as part of this conversation about Beth Adam, because there would have been no success without her. And I need to recognize that as part of the full tapestry of what this is about. So, yep. So when Terry chanted, right before I read it, I tried to read it really carefully to see if I could get you to notice it. What's really strange about Kol Nidre, the chant, we all tend to think about it's the year just ending. But when you listen to the words very carefully, it says, from this Yom Kippur to the next. Yom Kippur, Kol Nidre isn't about looking at the past. It's about thinking about the future. Now, there are lots of scholars who've written articles about it. It probably once was about the past and then it flipped into the future. It doesn't matter. Some point, it became about the future. To look at the future. That's what's important. It's more important than just dwelling on the past. And in fact, I think our responsibility is not to the past. Our responsibility is to the future. Our responsibility is to tomorrow and all the tomorrows to follow. What are we going to do today that's going to make tomorrow better? What are we going to learn from what we did today that's going to build upon our mistakes and our successes so that our future actions will reflect our values and our ideals? So while at this juncture in my life, as I'm looking at Beth Adam and reflecting back, that shouldn't really dominate. We can't become so trapped in the past that it overwhelms that which will be. Each of us, everyone here, we have a future, individually and collectively. Our ancestors knew that each of us would look back at different stages and look forward at different stages of our life. We're at different vantage points. We reflect on what we've done and what we've accomplished, what we've succeeded, what we're proud of. We do this at different moments. We do it sometimes at the end of a year. We think about what's going to happen, what we want to happen. The end of a major project, the end of a career. We think about what we hope will be remembered, and we think about what we hope will be forgotten. And of course, depending on where we are in our life's journey, it helps us set a forward direction. It helps us make decisions about the future that reflects our values. You're here this night. You're hearing my words about the future. We all have a future informed by our past, but not defined by it. As the new year spreads before us like a sheet of paper, it's clean and it's fresh. Let's not focus on those dots that are sure to populate it at some point. Let us celebrate the positive, the good, the achievements, the successes that we have brought into the world. We should see the totality of what we do, for that is the true measure of a year, and that is the true measure of a life.
We are all prone to inertia, our lives tending to remain on track, immersed in details. Except for occasional turbulence, we stay fixed in a web of routine. The diversity of life's possibilities goes unexplored. Our unknown potential remains dormant. The world's problems abound wherever we look. Events become critical and we are made instantly aware. Quickly, though, we calculate the distance misfortune strikes from our own lives and move on, steering a safe course down a familiar road. What finally moves us in new directions? What propels us to make significant choices, inspires us to make bold changes? Occasionally, hearing of the illness of a friend or loved one, experiencing the shock of a sudden death, we pause, looking inward for a moment. It seems that as we notice the quickened pace of time, when the quiet unveiling of our own mortality sets in, only then are we moved to resolution. When we confront the pain that life offers, only then do we examine the web we have woven into our lives. The benevolence of time lulls us to sleep, but the reality that we lose our loves, our life, our world, awakens us to our singular opportunity. Too often we wait for the pain of life's experiences to prod us, but we need not wait for sorrow to urge our response. We can look to ourselves rather than to life's bitter experiences, to question our use of time, to use this precious, limited resource in a more vital way. We must come to know our choices, to begin celebrating our lives, to revalue the web of our existence. We must challenge ourselves to find the time and the strength to rejoice in life's pleasures, give time to our loved ones, expend energy to make our world a better place. May we use time wisely, savoring its limits, considering well the measure of our days. We continue with a silent reading.
We remember now those with whom we shared, those who gave us strength, those we cherish, those we love. We remember them at daybreak as the sun peeks over in the distant horizon. We remember them at dusk when vision is difficult and shapes are poorly defined. We remember them at the first signs of spring as the first blossoms bloom. We remember them in the stillness of winter as the stark branches are set against a cold winter sky. We remember them when we are alone and afraid of tomorrow. We remember them at times of joy, wishing to share with them once more. We remember them at times of difficulty, waiting for advice that does not come. We remember them always, for they are a part of us now. And for those who wish to rise at this time, please feel free to do so. We stand as we recall those whom death has taken from us. We think about those who've died as a result of violence, terror, war that mars our planet. We think of the innocents caught in the crossfire We think of those who've died defending the principles of justice and peace and democracy. Think about those who died as a result of neglect, hunger, disease. Think of those who have no one but us to recall them this night. And we think of all our loved ones whom death has taken from us. Ein b'dei hamavita koach la'akor ma'ashetabun b'lev. Death cannot take that which is locked in our hearts. With our tears
and our sorrow we remember.
with our courage and our strength we do not forget. Acts of kindness, deeds of courage will remain. Beauty created, wisdom shared is not lost. With our tears and our sorrow we will remember. Im dama'ot be'einenu, be'et evlenu, nishmor al zecher achuvenu. With our tears, in our sorrow, we remember. Please be seated. Averot sheben Adam lechavero ein Yom Hakippurim mekaper ad sheratzeh et chavero. It says in Yoma, the Talmud, one's unloving acts, misdeeds, selfishness, or any act that causes another human being pain is not forgiven or forgotten on Yom Kippur until one makes peace with the one who is wronged. We've been wronged, and we have wronged others. And though we gather with the best of intentions, what we've done is not changed by our presence here. Those whom we have treated badly still feel the sting of our actions. The words we spoke in anger echo in the ears of those who felt our wrath. Our loved ones have been bruised by our misdeeds. The sins we've committed were not erased as we cross the threshold of this place. Our presence this night does not serve as penitence for cruelty we may have inflicted. Neglect we allowed. Selfishness we enjoyed. And though the pain remains, there is the potential for us to repair the damage we have caused. But this means we must find a new strength grounded in self-reflection, honesty, humility. Too often, we fear revealing to ourselves and to others that we're limited, that our actions are not perfect, that our judgments may be flawed. We fear that admitting our mistakes, acknowledging our failings, knowing we've wronged, will weaken us in the sight of others. It is only if we overcome these fears that we can achieve a strength we do not yet know. Tonight, we allow feelings that often lie dormant to surface. Regret, disappointment, shame, anger, not as self-flagellation, but as motivation. We leave here committed to changing, correcting, repairing that what we have done. For the meaning tonight lies not in what we speak here, but in what each of us does when we leave this place. The meaning of this night lies with the acts of repair that we are willing to attempt. The meaning of this night lies in our own apologies, in our own willingness to hear what others seek our forgiveness. Though our service will draw to a close, our task has just begun.
Shana Tova, good evening. I'm Sam Cooper, President of the Board of Beth Adam. I want to take a moment to welcome each and every one of you, both in person and online. As you may have guessed, our services didn't happen exactly as we intended tonight, but I think they did really well. And I want to thank everyone involved in making sure that it happened as smoothly as possible. And we hope that Rabbi Werber feels better. I also want to thank Rabbi Barr for being extremely flexible and quick to adapt. And a few announcements. As you may have seen at each of your chairs, the food drive is still happening during the high holidays. Donations will be accepted through tomorrow morning's Yom Kippur service. And I would assume the kids' service too, as well? No, just the morning service, okay. This Sunday, October 13th, as a reminder, there will not be any Sunday school or adult ed, but there will be an invasive species removal event here at Beth Adam, hosted by the climate team. This event runs from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. It will be followed by lunch. To help us estimate who's going to be there and what we need to order food, tool-wise, etc., please RSVP to the climate team. Also a reminder, the celebration of welcome for Rabbi Werber is on November 15th at 7:30 p.m. Please RSVP to Melissa Weiss. You should already have an invite in the mail, I believe, at this point. And one final note, we do realize that there are a few non-members in the crowd that do enjoy attending services. And if you'd like more information about membership, please find somebody like me with a tag on their shirt, and we can help you out. Thanks again.
Thank you, Sam. Thanks for everyone who worked and helped and made this possible. Tomorrow, the schedule is the same. So there's a service. Our morning service is at 10:30. There'll be a conversation with me. I'm sorry. Some of you probably said, hey, we're sick of them. We've heard of, But if you want to stick around, we'll have a conversation at, I think it's about noon, 12, something like that. So it'll be in the library, so you can do that. We have a children's service at 2:30. For those online, the memorial service is online at 3:30. The memorial service in person is at 4:30, but you can come about 4:10 to light Yortzeit candles. That begins at 4:10. So just look at the calendar. For those of you who want to go back and look at a service from Rosh Hashanah, if you weren't with us, you can always go to bethadam.org and go to the High Holiday page, and you can look at the services that we've already done. So you can go to bethadam.org is the best place to find out what's going on. So we're going to conclude our service. Those who wish to stand may do so at this time as we close our service this Yom Kippur this evening. May we know blessings those who are near, and may we know blessings those who are far. And may this new year bring its goodness to everyone soon, wherever they are. May we know blessings through the day. May we know blessings through the night. May health be for our children and for all people, and all things soon be right. May we know blessings in our comings. May we know blessings when we depart. May we begin this new year with peace and wisdom in each heart. Can ye heed? Let it be. May it be a good year, a healthy year, a safe year for all people everywhere. Shana Tova.
I need to tell you, not in my official capacity, because I'm the treasurer of